Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today on Wednesday webinars. Today we are going to be taking a look at the Uplifter LITE software options, our introductory option that allows you to do quite a bit, and actually probably more than you might suspect for a free software. So we're going to be taking a deep dive into this option and taking a look at everything that you can do with this wonderful system. In order to do so, we are going to be welcomed by our associate here, Jackie Kwan. And we are also have on the line here Sandra Oyarzin. So we are going to be jumping into things and begin with none other than Jackie Kwan herself. Jackie, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks for that intro, Garrett.
It was a terrible intro. Yes, you're welcome.
I was like, do I jump in and help out here?
What do I do with my hands? I don't know.
Thank you everyone for joining us. Today we are going to be talking about everything Uplifter LITE. Let's just start off really quickly. So what is Uplifter LITE? What is it and who is it meant for? So Uplifter LITE is really a trimmed down version of our Uplifter software. So we have Uplifter software that helps you with your club management, track all of your participants, take online registrations, manage your club, and do all of that wonderful stuff. And what we wanted to do here at Uplifter was to put together a package that maybe you don't need all of those features, or maybe you're a small club and you're still using paper registration. Well, we want to give some of those clubs an opportunity to jump on to online registration and give them a tool that they can use to at least do some very basic elements within Uplifter and take full use of that. So who is it meant for? If you're a small club and you are still doing paper registration, there's really no reason why you can't actually start using Uplifter LITE. And then as well, maybe you're even a larger club, but you don't have a lot of really complicated use cases. And if you don't, you could probably take advantage of Uplifter LITE and start taking online payments and online registrations and just have a way of better connecting with your members. So why did we build Uplifter LITE? I actually want to just sort of jump into that because I think it's some people say, you've got this wonderful software, you charge money for it, so why would you put together this version that's free and let people use it? Well, we kind of took a look at Uplifter and we realized we built this very strong, robust software that does a lot of things. There are some elements in it that do very complicated calculations of the background. It's really sort of enterprise level software. We've got large organizations using Uplifter in a great many ways, but we also knew that there was a need for a lot of smaller organizations that might want to take advantage of some of the great tools that we've built within this larger system. So what we did was we looked at, well, a lot of the questions that we get in delivering the product from our customers to the support team were just sort of not so much how to use the software sometimes, but really, I have a club and I do all these complicated things. And so how does that work within Uplifter, or what should I do with these complicated use cases? So a lot of times we're getting questions about, how should I organize my discounts? How should I discount my customers? How should I offer prerequisites where I prevent somebody from registering here, but not in another way? So what we thought was, well, how can we trim down the software and minimize those use cases? So if you're a club that doesn't have a lot of ifs in the way that you actually take registration, you could probably use Uplifter LITE and you probably won't have any sort of hampered experience for you or your members. And the other thing that we thought about too when we were looking at this was we're looking at all the other software options out there, and a lot of other software options, they'll actually limit you by quota. So for example, they'll say, if you're a small organization, you only have up to 100 members, you can use our free software, or if you only have up to 200 members, it's only going to cost you $20 a month or whatnot. And what we really felt here at Uplifter is we really didn't want to hamper any of our organizations using Uplifter just because of the size of club they were. We saw lots of clubs actually getting to a certain size and they would be like deleting data from their databases just so that they could keep within a certain price tier of the software that they were using. One of the great things about Uplifter Lite and all of the other tiers of Uplifters, there are no quotas in terms of your participant size and your family size. Right now, regardless of the size of club you are, you can use all of our versions of Uplifter, but you'll just have different features. And what we did was we stripped out a lot of the features that required, a little bit more support or might have been just a little bit more complicated to set up, so that an Uplifter Lite site could basically do what you needed to do, so that we don't have to spend as much time supporting those clubs that are using Uplifter Lite, which is one of the reasons why we're able to actually offer the software for free. What we've noticed with some of our Uplifter Lite customers is once they get up and running, they have a few questions trying to figure out how to navigate the software, but once they've figured it out, they've been pretty much plug and play. We very rarely get questions from our Uplifter Lite customers, because they've been able to utilize the bare minimum of what they need to do to get up and running. So that's one of the reasons why we actually did build Uplifter Lite. So what I want to do here is, first of all, show you what you can do. So Uplifter Lite is still incredibly robust. So here, and one of the things that I wanted to do before I started was I was thinking about, as I was planning this presentation, how am I going to show you what Uplifter Lite can do? And I thought, you know what, I'm just going to start a site from scratch and just build it. So a lot of times one of the questions that we get from our clubs is, how long does it take to get up and running with Uplifter? Well, I launched the site and I started working on this yesterday at about 11, on and off between a whole bunch of other things that I was doing. I probably spent about an hour and a half, and I put together a full registration page with just under 20 programs, a whole bunch of categories, and I really customized it too. So this is an Uplifter Lite site that I set up just yesterday. And you'll see that you can do things like you can still customize your logo, you can still customize your colors, you still have full online registration. This is what it looks like as an end user. So you can also customize elements, like for example, I'm gonna log in. You can customize elements that you would information that you would collect from your members. So here I've actually customized what the first time registering window would look like. And I've actually customized it to use actually text that I wanted to actually apply. I've added a field here that I wanted to click because I really want to know, how is it that people found me on the internet? So you can customize that experience completely. I'm going to log in as one of our fake users here that I've created. Oops.
I'll edit that out later.
So here I've logged into my site as my fake parent, Alan. And here, one of the things that you might have noticed is even before I was logged in, I was still able to actually see all of the programs that are available for registration. I'm able to see whether or not something's on waitlist and whether or not I can actually join that waitlist. I can actually filter this registration page by the different categories and the different elements that I actually offer here within the site. So, and things that you can do here is I'm actually going to register my children, and I can actually have multiple children within within a single registration. And I'm actually going to register both of them here, both Richard and Jane, for the Mindstorms camp. So here I'm going to go and view my cart. So things that you can do as well. So let's say you actually have some subscriptions set up or memberships that you want to offer optionally to your members. So here I've actually set up a suggested monthly subscription of this robotics club happens to have a monthly subscription that gives you full access to the robotics lab after schools, and it's $50 a month. So, and the way that this works is that right now I'm gonna have Jane and Richard both sign up for this. It's going to charge me $10 for the first month, and then every month on the first of the month thereafter, it's going to automatically charge the credit card $50 a month. So that if you want to actually just take recurring subscriptions, you can certainly do that within Uplifter. Another thing that you can do here is you can actually add other memberships or subscriptions. So if you are, let's say, a Gymnastics Ontario club, Gymnastics BC, or Skate Canada club, or any other club that has to take an annual membership, you can have that automatically added to your cart. In this case, because I'm not affiliated with a larger organization or association, I've decided, you know what, I'm using Uplifter Lite. I can't actually afford the credit card fees that Visa and MasterCard are going to charge me. So I'm automatically going to add a 3% payment processing charge to this invoice. So you can certainly customize the different fees that will automatically get added to the invoice to help you offset some of the costs that might be involved with taking that credit card transaction online. So here you can see that I've actually registered both my participants. I've registered them for the winter break camp. Other things that you can see here is I'm also able to actually still use credits or gift certificates that we have in Uplifter. So maybe you, one of the participants withdrew from a class last year, so you actually had to just, instead of giving them a refund, you put them credit on account. So you can certainly do that. One other thing, I should have actually registered for one of the larger. I'm going to do one of the full year programs here because I also want to show you here we can actually also customize the custom fields that might appear at the time of registration. So you can see here that for this one intermediate C++ class, I want to actually know, what OS that the user would prefer to use as part of their class. So here I've registered for 3 classes, and because that one class that goes for the full year has installment payments, you can also set up Uplifter to collect installment payments for you automatically. And if they are paying by credit card, when they pay by credit card, it'll automatically charge the credit card during through this installment date. So you can do all of that customization within Uplifter LITE. None of that is hampered. You're still able to add as many policies as you like. You can make the policies be not required, so they would be required to open and read them before they would be able to proceed, or required, they need to be able to accept the liability waiver before they'd be able to proceed with their payment. So here, this is what the payment page would look like if you're using Uplifter LITE. So once you click on payment information, you'll only be offered the one option for online registration, which is pay by credit card. So again, we want to build a system that was very easy to use, not a lot of customization in terms of the different ways people might be able to check out of their cart. So I'm just going to go ahead and add my fake credit card number. This isn't my real credit card number, so you can
You won't
try.
have to edit that one.
You would have to edit that one out. So I'm going to go ahead and click submit. So this is sort of the overall experience that your members would see as they actually complete an online registration. So very easy to use, very easy to find your programs that are available for registration, and all of that easy peasy. And you've collected their credit card information, and their credit card will automatically be charged on the first of the month and the subsequent months ahead. So you can also customize the messages that might appear on this invoice as well, and I'll show you that in a moment. As well, one of the big advantages to using Uplifter in general over paper registration, or if you're using any other method, is at the very least, what you do get out of this is you'll be able to actually let your members log in and connect with their account and get a better sense of what's going on at the club. So for example, here, every member will have, under their name, under my account, they will have their member account page, and their member account page will show them basically any of the payments that are upcoming. If they want to pay that right now, let's say they, you want to ask them to actually pay those outstanding fees right at this moment, they can certainly make a payment at the time. You don't have to necessarily engage with those members to actually collect that payment. They have their family calendar. So the family calendar will give them access to know exactly when they actually have to be where on what days. So you'll be able to take a look and say, oh, okay, the camp is only running for the winter break, only on the Monday and the Friday, and then, yeah, okay, so not on the New Year. And you can see who's supposed to be when and where. So the family calendar is a great element to be able to share with your members, especially if you've got a calendar that might be changing up because of holidays or whatnot. They'll be able to see that when they log in and take a look at their calendar. They'll also be able to see all of their participants, see each of their participants' profile. Not a lot here with the LITE version, but still they'll be able to see what it is that they've registered for, and update any details that you might actually ask them to update on a regular basis. So Lots of features there as well. They're full invoice history, so no more of that. Oh, I need for my taxes that the camp invoice, so I need that to be able to collect some tax credits on my taxes. So they have a full invoice history that they can then go ahead and print out on their own. As well, if you actually want to use the tax receipts feature in Uplifter, I know that some of the tax credits are no longer running in Canada, but you might need it for like a daycare receipt, let's say for camps and whatnot. So you can certainly set those up to be available to be printable within Uplifter as well. So all of those features still available within Uplifter LITE, not very limited, as it were, based off of our other tiers that we have, our bronze, silver, and gold. And it's a great way to actually connect with your members and have them be able to access some of this great information that you might want to share with them as a club. So let's take a look at some of the differences. So I think the best way to do this is I'm going to log in here as an administrator. Hopefully I'm still logged in on this page. Yep. So here I'm logged in as an administrator to my Townsville Robotics Club. So it's under the hood where you will actually see a lot more of the differences between Uplifter LITE and the different tiers that we have here. So here, one thing that you'll notice immediately is the features that are missing in general fall under three basic categories. Basically, you have fewer reports. You don't have access to all of the 30 plus different customizable reports that we have within Uplifter. As well, a lot of the different features with respect to checkout automation, you won't have those elements, because again, those are elements that might introduce a lot of ifs within how it is that you actually collect registration or manage your registration. So much easier for you to configure and set up. And as well, one of the largest issues one of the largest features you probably won't have access, or you won't have access to within Uplifter LITE, is the achievements and evaluations and goal tracking. So those are built into the higher tiers of Uplifter and are a little bit more complex in feature, in terms of the feature set, and require just a little bit more training and understanding, and sometimes just a little bit more support for us to give you a hand on your side to help you understand how those features work and get them up and running. So those are the three main areas of things that you won't have within Uplifter LITE. But again, if you are a club that just wants to find a way to even just collect the odd registration by credit card, maybe not all of them, but just some of them, this is a great way to do it without having to commit to renting or leasing an in-house pin pad, which could be costly, and having that merchant account. All of that is built within Uplifter, and you don't have to do that outside of that. So let's take a look at what I'd like to do is maybe just walk through very quickly how I went about actually setting up this Uplifter site yesterday, and just show you the comparisons of what you may or may not be able to do within Uplifter LITE and some of our other tiers. So the first thing that I did was I actually set up the different categories. So again, Uplifter LITE, no limitation. You can create as many categories and category levels as you like within Uplifter LITE, and you can still actually create different prerequisites or requirements. So you can see here with my Lego Robotics, I actually added a bunch of age requirements that based off of the different category levels. I don't want anybody younger than 3 years old in the We Do Beginner, but certainly no one older than 6. They should be shunted up into our We Do Advanced. So you can actually set up the different requirements, and you'll notice that when you actually set them up, you'll be limited by basically the things that you don't, the other features that you don't have access to within Uplifter. So we've basically limited the feature set of the prerequisites that you would be able to use to prevent checkout, or at least warn users before they actually register. So basically we've minimized it to minimum age, maximum age, and gender. So what I'm also going to do here is I'm going to show you, so this is a demo site that is running Uplifter Gold. I'm actually going to show you side by side here. It might be easier if I just minimize this just slightly. Oh, my mouse is not agreeing with me here. So here, one of the things that you can do with our Uplifter Gold software here, you can actually, if you actually use Uplifter Gold and you have requirements that are based off of completed category levels or completed achievements, you'll see this nice little tiered structure within your category level setup. So you won't be able to achieve that same sort of tiered structure within Uplifter LITE, but you will be able to still automate the prevention of registration, or even set it up so that it's just a warning per se, in terms of when they register for age and gender. So that's our categories. Then the next thing I did is, after I actually created these couple of categories and category levels, I looked at my facilities and my locations. So here, so within Uplifter LITE, you will be limited to only being able to set up one facility. So in Uplifter, we define a facility as a fixed address, but within Uplifter, within each facility, you're actually able to still create multiple locations. So you know, we've had some clubs come to us and say, oh, well, I actually do have a couple of locations, but I don't actually need all the features of Uplifter Gold. I only need Uplifter Bronze, or I only need Uplifter LITE. Well, you still can create multiple locations. One thing that you can do is you can just actually give it a different name. So let's say you want to call it Robotics Lab East, and then you could create another one called Robotics Lab West, you know, and those could be your locations. And just make sure that you don't check off the display address. Let me just show you what it looks like in our Uplifter Gold. So in Uplifter Gold, you can see here I actually have two different activities, an activity center and a skate center with two distinct addresses. And as well, within each of the locations, the one thing that you'll also be able to do with our Gold version of our software is you'll also be able to customize the colors that appear of that location in your club calendar. So again, just, you know, still able to functionally use and take advantage of what you can do with Uplifter, but just not quite as much flexibility in terms of the customization of those features. So, so yeah, you're still able to create multiple locations and make sure that you set up each of your programs and the classes based off of the specific locations that are available for that program. The other thing that you'll probably notice is that with Uplifter LITE, as I mentioned, the features that aren't available to you will automatically be grayed out in a lot of the different pages that you're actually working on within Uplifter. So here, I'm just going to bring this up again side by side. So here within our Uplifter settings, there's a bunch of advanced features in terms of how to actually customize the checkout experience for your club members. So you won't be able to add as many of those customization elements, but you'll still be able to collect online registration, still be able to actually put accounts in arrears and disallow registration for any account that actually is in arrears. So you still have quite a bit of flexibility from that perspective. And one of the main differences that you'll probably notice is under merchant details, you'll have less customization in the different payment methods in terms of how they appear within the checkout process. So the only payment methods that we allow as part of the checkout process is the credit card payment, and then as well the gift certificate payment. So all the other payment methods that you have, you won't be able to add any more than the default ones that we've created here within Uplifter, and they'll be accessible to you as administrators when you actually do an in-person registration, but not available to the end members when they actually go through the checkout process. So within our Uplifter Gold tier, you actually have more accessibility to be able to toggle these buttons on and off, customize which buttons appear in the checkout process, and as well actually set up what we call as payment method groups. So you can actually say, I want all of my camps to be credit card only, but I want my full year programs to allow them to actually be able to check out saying, I'm going to come in and pay check when I actually bring my child in for the first day of class. So you have quite a bit more flexibility in setting up multiple payment method groups and having that apply to very specific programs. With Uplifter LITE, again, the idea was we want to get you up and running as quick as possible. You just want to do online registration, and you just want people to place their credit card in and get up and running and moving. I'll walk through how to do an in-person registration here at the end. I'll touch on that in a minute, but just wanted to show you sort of some of the key differences in the administration tools here. Under the global settings, here again is another element where you're actually going to see quite a bit of quite a few elements that are disabled. But again, part of what we were trying to do is simplify the choices that you actually have as an Uplifter LITE administrator, so that you don't have to actually toggle so many buttons and figure so many elements out. So under the look and feel, you're still able to customize quite a bit. You're still able to actually add Google Analytics to your page, display different elements that are available within your public registration page, customize even the buttons that are available. Actually, I forgot to show some of the buttons that were available over the checkout. So what I did here is at the checkout process in the shopping cart, I added a couple of links for add a program. I actually set up a couple of products available for purchase. So here you can see I've added this button here called Buy Lego Home Sets, and I've actually added sort of a small online store. So if you actually have club gear that you want to sell, maybe some jackets, you know, in this case we've got these Lego sets so kids can actually work on this at home. You can actually offer them for sale within the site, add to cart, purchase online, and then they can come to the club and actually pick those elements up or you can ship them to them as need be. So lots of different options for customization there. That little pop-up that I had for the subscriptions, you're able to toggle that on and off. So again, customization still very, very flexible. Here's another great option that we have here, which is being able to customize what you call certain things within the interface. So for example, I've changed the word program, which is what we use at Uplifter, sort of normalize how we call something that you would register for, and I've changed that to class. So anywhere on the front page and the registration page, and as the members navigate through the site, instead of seeing the word program, which is maybe something that they're not familiar with, you can actually call it class. So really able to customize a lot of those elements. So the other piece that we've yanked out of Uplifter LITE, again, just for ease of use so that there's fewer pieces to work on, and as well the other way that we've also thought about this is as you know, with the free version of Uplifter, with the Uplifter LITE version, basically, the question is, how much lifting do you want Uplifter to do? So the more lifting you want Uplifter to do, the more automation you want Uplifter to complete for you, that's where you actually have to pay us our fees. So with Uplifter LITE, we've taken out some of the automation that would normally be available with our fully featured software. So things that we've taken out are some of the payment installment notifications. You won't be able to automate that. One key element would be overdue payment notification. So if anybody is overdue with or in arrears in their account, you can set it up so Uplifter can automatically send out an email either once a week or once a month to remind them to actually pay their invoices. In this case, you'll have to email them directly one by one to make sure that they actually complete their payments online or come in and bring a check. And this one other element here is our automated waitlist and waitlist notification tool. So if anybody actually does get onto your waitlist and a position frees up later on, you will need to actually contact those members manually. Within Uplifter Gold, actually even in, Uplifter Bronze, Silver, and Gold, the notification settings, whoops, I'm on the wrong page here. That's why that's not there. Okay, so under notifications here, you'll see actually a couple of features that allow you to automatically set up the wait list so that members, as soon as that position becomes open, that same evening, the member will receive a notification saying the spot for this class that you're waitlisted on is open. Please log in to register. You can actually customize the message a little bit for your own purposes if you want to add some other details about the waitlist process. And then as well, you can specify the number of days that they would be required to register before their spot would be given up. So the way that Uplifter actually manages registration, you still, with Uplifter LITE, get all of those real-time tools where people will register in real time, will track who registered first, will track who actually got added to the wait list in sequence, and you'll be able to determine only, if only one spot opens up, only the first person on the wait list will be notified. They'll get, let's say 3 days or 2 days to register. And if they haven't registered, they'll get dropped off the list, and then the email will then go to the next person. So again, you won't have access to that automated notification, but it's about sort of how much you would like Uplifter to automate for you. So next, let's actually take a dive into, as an administrator, and I'm just gonna expand this so that you can actually see this a little bit better. Um, as an administrator, you'll still have full access to all of the members, their profiles, and details about each of those accounts. So here I'm under the member manager. I can still see at a glance, who's in arrears, who has some future payments due. Other things that you'll also be able to do here is, let's say I want to actually take a look at anybody who's in arrears or has some future payments due. Okay, these are the 4 accounts that are my naughty accounts. Within Uplifter, as I mentioned, all of these, or sorry, I haven't mentioned, I should mention now, all of these administrative pages that you'll get to, almost all of them have a CSV export button at the top. So even though you don't have access to the full-fledged set of reports that we have within our different tiers of Uplifter, you'll still have access to CSV exports on any of the pages that you need to search for details. So from here, I can actually export this. I can actually do an advance and say, oh, well, I just want these elements, and I'm just going to export this to CSV, work with this list so that I can, email them from maybe my mail client, or if you see this button in the corner, which is available again on most of our manager pages, you'll actually be able to take this list, click that, and it'll take you directly to the email management tool. And from here, you will be able to actually email just those specific members that actually you had filtered out on the previous page and customize an email to them. So again, within Uplifter LITE, you are still able to leverage all the different tools within Uplifter, but the only limitation here that you have within Uplifter LITE is that you're only going to be able to email 5 emails in a single month. But you're still able to customize the message, customize the content of that email message, add a couple of attachments that you might want to. And the way that Uplifter's email manager will work is that instead of actually just CCing everybody on a single email or BCCing everybody on a single email, we send each of those emails one by one individually to each of those members. And because of that, it actually just limits the possibility that that's going to get caught in those members' spam filters and increases the possibility of the deliverability of those messages. So often much better than, opening up your Outlook, your Gmail, or your mail client and just adding 50 people to your BCC list. A lot of those emails will often get caught in spam, so we try and maximize the deliverability of those elements. So as you can see here, again, as I had mentioned, 5 emails in a single month. So anytime you come to this page and you use the email manager, you'll basically be able to do that 5 times in a single calendar month. But once the calendar month flips over to the first, you can start all over again. So again, great tool to have, even if you're using paper registration, instead of trying to build, each year a whole bunch of mail lists manually through whatever tools that you might have or Excel, you can just very easily say, I just want to email these 4 different classes and just let them know that there's been a change in the instructor. So, definitely lots of different ways that you can actually leverage the tools within Uplifter and not have to pay anything to do it. So, so here, so that was the member manager. Another thing as well, we've simplified the access to Uplifter. So for example, one of the things that you might have noticed is in the menu here, under the settings menu, you don't have access to being able to grant permissions. So instead, what you do is, what we've done here within Uplifter is just giving you 1 admin permission. So basically, if you want to actually add somebody to give them administration access, and they'll have all the same access that you have, you just go to their member profile, add them to the full admin access group, and they'll automatically have access to all of the different tools that you have available to yourself within Uplifter. So instead of within Uplifter, the bronze, silver, and gold package, I'll just show you very quickly what that looks like. So within the bronze, silver, and gold packages, you're actually able to create multiple groups and then customize what different permissions that you actually have available within those groups, and then have different people attached to those groups. Again, it's a little bit complicated for some users that may not be as savvy about being able to manage permissions, and they really just wanted to give it, administration access to anybody who that needs to administer the system. So here, just go to their member profile and add them to full admin access, and they'll be ready to go. So other features within Uplifter LITE, that are still available to you, really amazing, strong features, would be our class management. So you don't have all the features of class management, but you do have some basic features that will allow you to basically do more than you did with pen and paper and Excel spreadsheets. So here, at a glance, real-time registration, you're able to see how many people are registered for any given class. You can actually see if anybody's whitelisted. Setting up the actual registrations, the program registrations, still all of the great features that are available within Uplifter. You know, customizing the price, customizing the calendar, the class calendar for each of those programs. And then as well, you're still able to do things like prorating. You can still prorate all the classes. You can still enable installment payments, still set them up to be tax receipt eligible, so you can print tax receipts at the end of the year. And as well, specify even requirements on a per program basis as opposed to at a category level basis. So still lots of different features to customize that, customizing the number of people that you're actually allowing for registrations and waitlisting as well. So all of those features still available within Uplifter LITE. And when you actually click on each of the clubs, still a bit of class management still available here. You'll be able to see a full list of registered participants for any given class. Drill into the class and you can actually export your class list to CSV. So if you want to make customized check-in pages or attendance pages, you can actually just export that into a CSV and use that to do what you need to do within all the other tools that you might be using outside of Uplifter. You're also able to customize the different fields that you would collect for a different participant. So for example, here you can see I'm collecting allergy and medical information. I'd be able to see that directly from my class list. Here you can also see that we have a list of the people that are waitlisted and when they were actually added to that waitlist. And you'll still have the ability to go ahead and manipulate that waitlist a little bit. Let's say you've got two kids and you know they're brother and sister, and you want to make sure that they both get onto the waitlist in time. And so you might shuffle that waitlist a little bit, push them down one so that you know they'll get in together as opposed to you know maybe somebody else who might not have you know, might need that spot before them. So still a lot of different features here. The things that you can't do would be, here, let me just find a program here that, here we go. So here, this is our Uplifter Gold. What you can do within Uplifter Gold is you can actually create different groups within your classes, and you can actually move you can move students from one group to another. And then you can also assign different coaches or instructors to those individual groups. So if you need that, if you're looking for club management tools that will help you manage those elements, you'll need to move up to our bronze, silver, or gold features. But within Uplifter LITE, you'll be able to, like I said, take online registration and still be able to see who has actually registered for those individual classes. So the other things, we talked about emails, let's talk about subscriptions. So as I mentioned before, you're able to actually create products for sale purchased on your website, and then as well you're able to create subscriptions. So let's take a quick dive here into the 3% administrative fee that I created. So all of these fees are really up to you in terms of how you want to configure them. I know that anybody who is coming on board with Uplifter LITE might be very cost conscious, and they might be cost conscious as well in terms of the credit card fees that might be levied. So if you feel like adding, you know, a 3% processing fee to cover off the fees that Visa and MasterCard are going to charge you, you can automatically add that in by creating what's called a mandatory subscription. And if you click enable checkout filters, it'll automatically get added to any of the registrations that happen online, and it'll automatically calculate 3% of the subtotal of the invoice and add that to the registration. So the one thing that you won't be able to do with Uplifter LITE is provide a little bit more customization of when that subscription might apply to a specific registration. So here you'll see that this is grayed out. Let me take you over to our Uplifter Gold and show you what that would look like in that element. So here you can take a look, and within Uplifter Gold, sorry, bronze, silver, and gold, when you actually create your subscriptions, you'll actually be able to tag those subscriptions. So let's say I have this admin fee, but I really only want to charge the admin fee to my comp team. So because they're going to need more help, as it were, and there's an additional fee, or maybe you have some fees that apply to some programs and some fees that apply to other programs. So if you need the flexibility, again, it comes down to that if this happens, if this registration occurs, then I want that to happen. If this other registration occurs, then I want something else to happen. Once you do that, then you're probably looking at one of our more advanced tiers like bronze, silver, and gold, as it were. So you won't be able to add those tags within Uplifter Lite, but still able to add all of those different fees as you need. So let's take a really quick look here at the monthly recurring registration. So again, one of the great features of Uplifter is being able to actually add an automatic monthly membership to any registration. So maybe you are a club as well that doesn't have set classes that people have to come and register for, or maybe you're moving to a model where you want everybody to come on board and pay a $50 membership every month, and what they get out of that is being able to be placed in one of the specific classes that you might specify. So great for competitive clubs, or maybe some more elite athlete academies that want to control sort of how that membership occurs, or maybe a gymnastics club that's looking more at some of the US models of pricing. So this is a great way that you could use Uplifter Lite. You create a monthly subscription here. What will happen here is you create this as a subscription, and what I'm going to do is I've created the effective duration so that it will expire at the last day of this month. So if I purchase this membership today, it's going to expire on the 31st. And when it expires on the 31st, so what it's going to do on the payment side, I'm just going to scroll down here. You can see that at checkout, for the first month, I just decided, I'm going to give them an introductory rate of $10 for the first month. And then on subsequent months, I'm actually going to charge them $50. So once this membership expires on the 31st, so at the end of this month, overnight, what will happen is the system will take a look and see if there's any expired memberships that have been set up for recurring subscriptions, and automatically create a new invoice for that member for $50 on the first of the month to automatically charge that credit card. And what you'll want to do is you'll want to make sure that the default method of payment would be the credit card, so that it automatically charges the credit card that was used at the initial checkout phase. So great way to set up sort of monthly memberships. So if you're looking for a tool to do online registration just for monthly recurring memberships like a gym, you can certainly use Uplifter Lite, and you can manage your class management using some other tool if you'd like, or you can still set up your classes within Uplifter and use the class management tools that are the limited class management tools that are available within Uplifter Lite to print out class lists and email those individuals. So we're lots of different features. I won't show you the features that are available in the other tiers. We actually have a couple of other webinars that touched on those in a more deeper sense. So, but if you are interested, please feel free to contact us at support@uplifterinc.com, and we can send you a link to some of those other features that are available in our higher tiers. One of the elements that I did want to show you though is, let's say you're a small club and you don't want to actually have online registration, but you just want to have Uplifter to use as a tool because you're still doing everything by paper, and you want to be able to track all of this online, and at the very least be able to email those members on a couple of times a month with important news, or maybe tell them about things that are coming up, or maybe you want to actually just track the historical in a central place, in an easy to access form, so that all the administrators within your club can get to those details. So there's nothing saying that you actually can't set up all of your classes. You still have access to our batch update tool, so you set them all up. So instead of actually being open for public registration, let's say you don't want to take any of these classes online and you don't want people to actually pay by credit card, you can set them to beta. And once they're set to beta, they won't actually appear on your online registration, unless you are actually an administrator. So people won't be able to register online. But you've collected a whole bunch of paper registration forms from your members. Maybe they've emailed them to you. Maybe you're more of an in-person type organization. If you're taking mostly in-person registration and that's how you actually want to run your club or your business, no problem. Go to accounting, invoices, click on the little plus sign. Type in the member that's actually at your door. Actually, another easy way to do it is to go to members and click on the little add sign. So let's create an invoice for William Jackson. Let's add him to a class. So let's say William Jackson, we're going to add his kids to the Mindstorm class. Trina's going to come to the Mindstorm camp. And all you have to do is click select payment method and post. Let's say they've come in and you do have an in-house terminal, you can certainly do that, or maybe they've paid you cash at the door. Here, we're going to process the payment and just say note in cash box. Post. Oh, let's pick a different class here. Of course, I picked the one that she was already in. So let's put her in the March break class. So here, we're going to delete that and reprocess her payment for in cash box and click post. Online registration completed. So there. And let's say you are a club that actually does do a lot of discounts, or you have a few discounts that are available. Maybe you have a family discount that's available, but you don't have a lot of families that register. You still want to allow the online registration to occur. You can certainly set that up, and you can tell people if you have a family and you want to register with us and actually be eligible for the online for the family discount. Come in, you can set this up, and actually when you actually go to actually create the invoice, you can actually add adjustments to each of the lines to actually reduce the price as you need. So so certainly still flexibility to update the price for those different offline use cases that you might have as a club that you don't want Uplifter to necessarily automate. So that is basically a very quick overview of Uplifter LITE, online registration, how to accomplish in-person registration and still use some of the offline payment methods within Uplifter, still be able to access a lot of the great robust features here within Uplifter LITE with our software. Garrett, you've been so quiet. Is it because I've been talking so quickly that you haven't been able to get a word in edgewise?
You've been doing a wonderful job. No, you've been doing fantastic. I don't want to break your flow. I'm actually shocked at how long this webinar was because there's way more features than I thought there was going to be. Uplifter LITE's fantastic.
Yeah. Were there any features that I missed that you think that I should maybe jump into here?
No. I think that's everything.
Yeah.
So look coming down. Yeah, you did a great job.
Thank you. One thing that I did realize here, as I remembered, you can still update your season here, and you can actually still use like great features like our copy season feature. So when it comes time for you to set up registration for the following year, you can certainly just set up your new season, put in the new start date and end date, copy over all of the programs, and set your class schedule to do so. Yeah. So that is Uplifter LITE in a nutshell. So, so if you have any questions about Uplifter, please feel free to contact us. If you have questions, if you're not a current customer of Uplifter, please contact us at info@uplifterinc.com. If you are a current customer or you currently have an account with Uplifter and you have more questions about Uplifter LITE, certainly at support@uplifterinc.com. One thing as well that you might want to know that's of great note here, we just launched just recently is our new Refer and Save program. So within now, even if you are an Uplifter LITE customer and you started using Uplifter and you think the software is great and I'm not paying anything for it, all I'm paying are my credit card fees, and you want to share that, please use our refer and save feature where you can actually refer Uplifter to other individuals. You'll be able to get that person that you've referred, if they've come onto a onto a paid tier, they'll get $10 off a month. But as well, for you, even though you are on Uplifter Lite, let's say you start using Uplifter Lite, you've referred 5 or 6 clubs, and those clubs come on board and they go live as well. Let's say you decide, you know what, I'm gonna, there are a couple of other features in Uplifter Bronze that I really like. I'd like to start using that. If you actually upgrade to our Uplifter Bronze, we actually hold on to all of those referral discounts that you might have collected over that time, so that you can actually use that for one of our paid tiers. So it's a great way for you to get started with Uplifter Lite, started with those features, refer a bunch of friends, and over time eventually get Uplifter Bronze basically for free. If you're able to refer 3 friends, you'll basically get Uplifter Bronze for free for 6 months, and then just continue referring friends, and you won't have to pay for Uplifter Bronze. So that is definitely one way that you can sort of leverage some of the great ways that we're trying to share the features of Uplifter.
That seems like a steal.
Well, it kind of is. We actually, when we set that up, we're like, do we really want people to do this? That means they're not paying us. But you know what? If it means that they're sharing some of the tools of Uplifter with more of their friends and other organizations, I just want more people using Uplifter, because there's no reason to use paper registration when you have this tool available to you and you don't have to pay a thing. So
Absolutely.
yeah, so we are just almost at our 1 hour mark. I probably could have spoken slower, and we would have been okay within an hour, but I do like to whip through some of these features really quickly. Thank you very much for joining us for our Uplifter Lite webinar. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact us at support@uplifterinc.com. Thank you very much for joining us, and have a great day.
Thank you, everyone. Take care.